further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Passed unanimous. Thanks for that.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat the motion in the second?
Okay, the motion was approval of the minutes from the road commission meeting held December 9th, 2020. The motion was by Lori, the second was by Shane,
Thank you so much.
and the vote was unanimous. Okay.
Appreciate it.
We are now on page 2, item B. We have a timed item at 9:30. It's the White Pine Power LLC, White Pine Water Power LLC. Item 1 is discussion only. Present an overview of the White Pine Power LLC WPW Pump Storage Hydropower Project. Review current draft of the water use and options to purchase agreement between White Pine WPW and White Pine County, and discuss statutory requirements per NRS 533.550 and NRS 244.2795. For final approval of the agreement, Luigi Resta, President, and Matthew Shapiro, CEO of White Pine Water Power Project. Welcome.
Good morning, Chairman and Commission. I'm Luigi Resta, CEO of R Plus Energies. Thank you for the time. I have Matthew Shapiro here with me, the CEO of R Plus Hydro and White Pine Power. Just as a quick update on the project, we've been before you multiple times, and I know you like the update. So the quick update is the project is moving forward really well. Our team continues to grow. We also have Brett Burgess with us, who's a new hire, a permitting specialist to help manage the permitting. And on the phone, we have Gage Gorges, Norvell, who's our attorney, who's helped with the water rights agreement that we'll be talking about today. From an update perspective of the project, we've really been digging into it a lot lately. We've done a lot of the kind of preliminary environmental and reconnaissance engineering. Now we're going to the next phase of engineering, which involves doing geotech boring samples at the site. So we've been interviewing different geotech firms to actually do the drilling, and then engineering firms to oversee the drilling. We hope that that work can actually start in the spring this year. So we've identified and selected a driller and an engineer to oversee that. It will entail principally 3 drilled boreholes on BLM property for a total of about 5,000 linear feet of core samples. So that's an extensive 3 to 4 month kind of process, which starts to put people in the community and working here this year, which again, we want to really be part of the community as the project goes. As you're aware, this is a very long duration development project, and then a long duration construction project, and an even longer life investment of the project. And want to kind of restate that this is part of the community. From a development perspective, in a perfect world, we would start construction the end of 24, 25, and then it's a 5 to 6 year construction project with thousands of people. And then after it goes operational, it's anywhere from 20 to 26 full-time employees that would be residents here in the community with high-paying jobs. So it is a good project, and then a 100-year life cycle like we talked about. The only other updates on the project?
No, we are in good discussion with the railroad and the city of Ely on a working arrangement, so we can make sure that if the railroad, if there's a section of it that has to be realigned, that is minimally disruptive and potentially even beneficial to the railroad. So that discussion continues, and it's going well.
So anyway, so it's great. I mean, everything is aligning, it's moving forward. We haven't found anything with the increased scrutiny on the project that is saying we have an issue or that there's concern. And that's really key. And I think maybe even since we last met, our kind of internal organization supporting the project along with the external consultants is now like 15 people that are almost full-time working on this project, again, to help it be successful in the process. So one of the next steps is the water rights, which we're here to talk about. And Gage, do you want me to kind of go over what the structure is and what we need to cover here?
Yeah.
This is Gage Lobel on the phone. Absolutely, Luigi. Please go ahead and go in, and if you need me to step in at any point as one of the drafters, happy to discuss the details of the agreement.
Perfect. So we have several agreements that have gone back and forth between our attorneys and your attorneys and looking at the statutory process, making sure that everything is followed by the letter of the law. And it's really important on a project that is this long of a life cycle and this big that we follow the statute and that we make every notice and as best as possible. So with regard to the water rights, the Robinson Mine had the rights and have been paying the county $50,000 a year for the county's water rights of roughly 24,000 acre feet. For our project, what we're hoping to do is again pay the $50,000 to the county to help you guys maintain those water rights during our development period. And so the first phase is the license for 12 years of 2 permits of water, because we don't need 24,000 acre feet. We really need something much less, and we're 5,000 acre feet is what we're proposing and what we ultimately need for filling the bottom reservoir. The associated 2 permits, water rights add up to about 8,200 acre feet. So what we have in the agreement, so that we don't have to segregate a permit to make it less, is roughly 8,200 acre feet of water for the license period during our development, which is the 12 years. During that period, we would be paying the county $50,000 a year. In the first 5 years, we're not going to be using any water. And then once we start construction, some of those water rights will be used for construction purposes, compaction, dust control, cement, batch plant, others. Then when we near the end of construction, we'll take those water rights and the 5,000 acre feet and do the initial fill of the lower reservoir. If we exceed the 5,000 acre feet in the agreement, we have there's a provision where we pay the additional draw above the 5,000 feet up to the 8,200 feet that is associated with those 2 permits. That's the first phase. So, any questions on that?
Do you have anything to add to that, Mike? On our order?
No, we've been working closely with Luigi and Gage several times. This has gone back and forth. We've had several phone conferences, and we're ready to move forward.
So then on the second phase is the 750 acre feet, which a pump storage hydro project, this is a closed loop, so it moves water from a lower reservoir to an upper and back and forth, will have some evaporation and some water losses. And this is a 100-year power plant, as we've described. The second part is the 750 acre feet that would be a purchase for the project for the perpetuity of ongoing operations. That would be actually a purchase of the water rights by state statute. You had to have an appraisal done by a third-party appraiser to verify the value of that water. That was done and conducted by the county and paid for, and that's where the $225,000 fee came up, is that's the appraised value for the 750 acre feet. In the agreement, we have also included, rightfully so, the fact that the purchase can only happen if it's for the purpose, the intended purpose that we've stated, which is for the pump storage hydro project. That we can't go and buy the water rights at some future, if the project doesn't happen, buy the water rights and sell them for some profit. There's a prohibition against that, and it's basically a fallback to the county ownership. So the purchase only can take place for the benefit of the pump storage hydro project. And both of those, we followed state statute and we're working with the district attorney here and our law firm. So, are there any questions on that? So today, the request is not to approve the sale and the licensing. It is to approve the dockets, the legal documents that would then be approved, right?
Yeah, basically today is just to let you know what's coming. The next, we're going to set a public hearing and an action item coming up. We just needed time to introduce this so you can look at the agreement, let the public see what's going on so they can be better informed to participate in the public hearing. And we're just trying to lay the groundwork so it's all open and for the public to understand, for the commission to understand before we enter into this very serious and long-term agreement.
I have a question. Going back to your core samples, have you guys have an area yet where you're going to, the locations of where those core drillings are going to be?
We do have locations, we're working with BLM right now on the access, and on the road guys, we're talking about doing some test pits as part of this process. So we've submitted our 2920, which is an exploration permit with BLM, for 3 sites. One would be at the lower reservoir site, the other would be at the access tunnel to the underground powerhouse, so kind of halfway up the mountain. And then the third is up on the top of the hill, access off of Duck Creek. So there is 3 very specific sites, and they're, GPS specific to where we need to drill and get the core samples from.
And so you're working with BLM in regards to roads to get to those?
Both
Because I don't,
Yeah, exactly. There is Jeep trails to 2 of the holes, and the third one, there's a Jeep trail, but we need to be further uphill, which is the lower reservoir site. We need to be on the east side of the railroad, and there's not a road there, so that's part of the work that we're doing to get it. We have, as part of the SF 299 with BLM, had our cultural resource biologists out. They've already studied all the area, the roads, all the proposed roads and existing roads, to make sure that there's no sensitive habitat or cultural issues. So that's included in our application.
and I'd like to know where the conversation has been in regards to, because I was concerned about the patent that BLM has, or that the city has in regards to the rail line. Or you guys have talked about moving it?
That's a kind of a different topic or issue, because it's really, as far as doing the preliminary drilling doesn't affect the railroad in any way. So we will cross the railroad, and it's looking like we're gonna cross it, they've designated railroad crossing for this geotech work, and then it will be over a course of a couple months at the most at each site, and they'll have to bring the water trucks, and then they'll go and they'll have to put back the area, refurbish the areas that they did the drilling, and it's about 100 by 100 foot pad for each of these drillings. The railroad, we are working with putting an MOU in place between the city, the railroad, and the project to help with the realignment of the railroad. That's a process. We're on the city council tomorrow night. We met with the railroad. It's going to take process, and the MOU is that it's our obligation to make sure that the railroad and the city are kept whole and that they're not adversely affected.
So far as the patents were, as far as I'm concerned. And I
Yeah.
bring this up because the public, there's been inquiries in regards to that, so I thought it was important to bring it up.
Yeah, and we're very sensitive to that, obviously. So that's part of it. The city currently owns that in fee title, that road. We've met with BLM. There is a process and a procedure to do a land swap effectively, so that the amount of acreage that the city owns through that right of way on BLM, it remains the same with fee title, but it just moves from west a little bit uphill. And the part of that process is that we're responsible for both the work to do it and the costs associated with it, so there's no cost to the city or the railroad or the county for any of the work that we do. That's what this MOU is specifically for.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I think I've been hit with the same concerns. I think the railroad is definitely the touchiest thing.
Yeah.
The other item I wanted to comment on was, we have been hit repeatedly about selling county water rights, and we shouldn't be selling county water rights. And I just wanted to clarify, this 25,000 acre feet of water was set aside by this county for economic development years and years ago. This was the sole purpose. We had the pie in the sky for a coal-fired power plant about a half a dozen times. And the sole purpose of these water rights is to bring in economic development. And we're talking a project that's not only going to create a huge investment, but it's going to create an ongoing concern for 100+ years. I think to sell these water rights fits exactly in what the original intent was for these water rights.
And it is specific to energy.
Yeah, specific to energy. I mean, this fits perfectly with what the intent was.
And I mean, not only that, we have 25,000 in the long term is 750 acre feet, so that still leaves us with 24,000 plus. So
Yeah,
they're taking that much out of that big a pie for, that's a from a county perspective, that's a huge, return on investment for that little outgoing.
Yeah, I just feel like we're very fortunate to have the opportunity to utilize those water rights in the manner they were intended originally.
Anybody else?
I do.
Dan? Bill?
We need to start the process of a road assistance agreement, if you will be impacting any county roads at all. When we had our meeting prior, we talked about that, but there's been no conversation. But prior, we'll need to work out the impact, what that means, and then that will need to go before the commission prior to any, more than occasional use, I guess is the way I should probably say that, on county roads. So I'll leave you my card, my phone number, and you guys can get a hold of us, and we'll start working out those details so it can come before the commission.
Thank you very much. And in fact, we did, when we met with the city, with Brad Christensen, propose putting a community development agreement together where we are obligated. And I think it was determined that that wasn't needed at this point. But we actually initiated that conversation to say that any impact, road, whatever, associated with this project, we bear the cost and responsibility for that. And so we appreciate that. And to the degree that the road drives that conversation, we are perfectly okay with that. And we've been here for all these commission meetings with the roads there. We do not want that. So any road that we impact, we want to make sure, any aspect of the community that we impact, we want to make sure that it is made right, and that we're doing it for a long time investment.
Yeah, and that was one more thing that I was going to bring up so far as a development agreement, not just a road assistance, but a development agreement.
Yeah,
So-
and we're, like, again, we proposed it last month, and it was decided that now was not the appropriate time, but for us, it's beneficial to have as well.
All right, appreciate that, thank you.
Anyone else?
So then
We've
we're
been on this now for a while, and the way you guys are leaving no stone unturned, this project is gonna benefit White Pine County way, way beyond. And the water part of it, one thing that was left out, when we have water rights, we have to use those for beneficial use. Beneficial use is a power project, and that certainly goes in line with what Shane and Boyd have discussed, and Travis. But this project, and as we continue to have these meetings, we move forward, 2024-25 is right around the corner. It's not, it's here. And what's gonna affect White Pine County for the many, many years to go to diversify our income. We welcome you guys, and I tell you, anything we can do to help. And one more item I'd like to do, just real quick, is our new district attorney that we'll be appointing today is right there, that you'll be dealing with a lot, James Beecher. So if you guys could get and meet James, I'm sure Mike will give you some introductions, but with this project going forward, I want every stone corrected. And so that as we can move on with this project and we can make White Pine County, we're right in the middle of an energy corridor that's unbelievable. And you guys are starting the first project, so really welcome. And with that being said by each commissioner here today, and we're looking at this was a discussion only on you guys, so we don't need to take an action
I
today.
think we actually are requesting an action, and that is that you approve the draft of the agreements.
We have to do a public hearing.
Well, it's not to sell it, it's to agree on the
So
legal.
under the open meeting law, the way this is agenda, they can't actually take a formal vote, but right now, as you see, there's no actual objection to the concept or the agreement, so this agreement in this form, if I don't hear anything back from them at this meeting, which I don't think I will, will be approved for the next meeting. So this is their informal opportunity for them to lodge any objections, Luigi, and tell you if there's anything they want to take out or add in. And we're not really hearing it, so it's
Okay, I
de
just wanted to
facto,
make
it's
sure that.
de facto approved.
Perfect.
So, we'll act on it next meeting. I think you've heard from the commissioners, everybody here. Let's move forward and do some done. We appreciate you guys coming here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys. You know how to reach us, too.
Yeah. And try to meet up with Jane. We've got a little bit of time before our next timed item, so I want to move on and I want to go to.
Thanks, you saved my life.
That was really important to keep the meeting rolling.
Sorry, Matthew just made a comment. Sorry, Chairman. Matthew just made a comment. We are on the agenda tomorrow night with the city council for this special use permit, an SUP, and I don't know if we needed to talk about that here, but just so you're aware, part of the project is we're, doing the development, is we've applied for a special use permit. I assume that it's gonna come to the city council, or to the commission, excuse me.
It'll probably go to our planning
It
commission,
goes to the planning commission.
which is, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
That'll be all right.
So if you have any questions about that as well, we're gonna be here until tomorrow night. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you so much.
So we've got a little bit of time. Let's go to page 3. And it's items under from elected officials, because I don't want to get this out of the way while we have Ian here. And it's, item 1 is under myself. And it's, item A is a discussion for possible action. It's approval of certificates of recognition to Christine Ritchie, which I already did before her retirement date, Mike Weedle and Brian Pyle. We are losing 3 very, very valuable members of this community, and it's really important that we recognize each of them for their contribution to what we've done. Without them these last couple of years, Brian, Mike, and Chris, of course, I recognized her for 26 years of service, but I think it's very important for this commission to take and recognize Mike and Brian, along with Chris, which we've already done, and then we can move forward. So without anything else, do you have some recognition awards? So if we can get, okay, let's get out front here. Caitlin, you can get a picture, but if the commission come around here, and Mike, you and Brian come too, we'll get a picture, and we can recognize you for your years of service.
Why are you torturing me for recognition?
Hey, and Brian too, because it's important. Do the rest of the commission want to come forward, or you want to sit back?
Do you want us to sign the certificates real fast
We'll
first?
sign it afterwards.
Okay.
This is gonna go in the paper?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'll tell you what, I'll let Ryan go.
Another
No,
first.
Well, we need all,
Like the
yeah,
hands
come
in
on.
or something?
Yeah, I'll be right here with both of you, and the commission as well. But I'll read it out here, because I think they say the same. The first one is, this is a certificate is presented to Brian Pyle in grateful recognition for your outstanding performance, exemplary work ethic, and for demonstrating over 5 years of dedication to public service while working for White Pine County as a law clerk and ultimately as a deputy district attorney. The White Pine County Board of County Commission deeply appreciates your contribution and wishes you the best in the future. The second one is for certificate of recognition. This certificate is presented to Mike A. Weeble in grateful recognition for your outstanding leadership, exemplary work ethic, and for demonstrating over 9 years of dedication of public service while working for White Pine County, first as a law clerk and ultimately as the district attorney. The White Pine County Board of County Commissioners deeply appreciates your contribution and wishes you the best in your future endeavors. So that's what both of them read, and we'll sign those. Here, Brian, here's the, thank you. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Thanks.
Can you get us all in?
Yeah, don't
All
worry,
right.
don't worry. Okay, all the names are top here. Right? Okay, one more, just for, bribery.
And we'll pass these around, give them signed, and give them back.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item will be,
You should take a motion on
yeah,
that. Move to approve.
motion by Travis to approve,
Second.
second by Shane. Any further discussion?
Probably, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ian, you on there?
Yep, sorry, I was muted. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed and passed unanimous. Okay, is that all I need? Now we'll go on to The second one, we'll just go right on down to county elected officials. County Commissioner Moriel Carson. A is a discussion for possible action, approval to prepare and publish requests for proposals for for information technology management services for White Pine County based on existing or alternative delivery of service method. Lori?
Yes, this was on the last agenda, and I was quite puzzled. Nobody made a motion, so I brought it back because I feel like this is something that we do on a regular basis. At the last agenda, we also had a motion to go ahead and go out for bid again an RFP for the public defender services. And I think that, I couldn't remember how many years that our IT people have been. And so I just thought it would be appropriate to go ahead and go out to see what else is out there. We do the same thing in regards to our insurance as far as a broker. And so anyhow, I brought this back. So I thought that we should take a second look at this.
Okay, we did kind of, I don't know what happened, but this is just simply for us to go ahead and see some RFQs to see if maybe we can get a better deal or better service or whatever. And this doesn't hurt anything, it just allows us to go out.
Yeah, it's
And,
just a typical thing
You
that
know, like we do.
we're doing due diligence.
Right. The same as we're gonna be doing with the public defenders. So that's all this is asking. If Lori made a motion there, I believe.
I did.
And if we can get a
Motion to
second.
approve.
Can we get a second? Okay, Lori, go ahead.
My question, I mean, at least everything I've been around, the BCT's always been good. I think that's maybe, we just need to have a discussion as far as, I know we're just going out, but I don't know why, no, it just seems like we need to, I know I made the motion, I was kind of looking more to the senior commissioners that have been here longer, to maybe if there was a energy for it, so that's just where I'm a little confused.
I was gonna say, I went and talked to some of the department heads, and they also felt like it was probably time. So that's also why I brought it back. There's a separate agreement in regard, if people were concerned, because that's why I hesitated at first. I didn't know if it would impact the courthouse at all, but it does not. That's a separate agreement. So anyhow, so that's why I brought it back. I thought it was appropriate. It's been a long time, and I think that we should do this, just doing due diligence.
Shane, you got any comment?
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the same place Travis is. The relationship that we've had with BCT, I think has been exemplary, and I think that going through, I mean, we had a tough couple of years. We had quite a mountain to climb. With our computer conversions the last several years, and you know, there was some bumps in the road, but my gosh, when you look at what we were up against, I think the things were addressed. I'm just with the relationship that we've had with BCT, I just really didn't feel the need, you know. I think they're a great company that has offered us a great service, and I just haven't felt the need.
I think that it's due diligence, and I think it would be entirely appropriate if I didn't. And I was here when BCT was first hired, and I really think that it's worked out well in the past for us to do this. And I really think that it's a smart thing to do.
Ian?
And so that's why I brought it forward.
Ian, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I think that if we were talking about a simpler situation, this might be a different discussion, but the relationship and the logistics involved in having a comprehensive managed IT service like they provided, it's not like buying a new car. It's so involved, and like Shane mentioned, and Travis, like, these guys have gone above and beyond what's been expected. They've really done a great job. And I feel personally, I would feel cheap, and I would feel I just wouldn't feel good about thanking them for that by looking to see if we can get a cheaper deal. And I don't misunderstand, Lori. I think I really appreciate your perspective and your wanting to just make sure